Every time you bring a franchise from Japan into America, some changes are gonna be made. Because what's considered wholesome family entertainment in one country might get you thrown in jail and banned from playgrounds in another. But other times, in their quest to protect our youth and sell them millions of action figures while they're at it, American companies end up introducing some truly deranged changes to the source material. So let's talk about the bonkers, the embarrassing, the unbelievable bits of localized canon that are about as subtle as Michael Bay's big swinging metal balls. We're talking about Dragon Ball Z accidentally making child abuse hilarious, One Piece's poorly disguised smoking, and Sailor Moon's overly affectionate cousins. This is Cannonball. Gen Z anime fans have no idea how good they have it today. With their streaming sites and subtitle options and ability to say the word anime out loud without being instantly stomped into the nearest locker. In the olden days, if you wanted to watch a show from Japan, you were at the mercy of whichever poorly translated and heavily censored version happened to be available on TV or at the nearest Blockbuster, which was inevitably packed with inexplicable changes. Changes like, number 4, Dragon Ball Z replaced Hell with Home for Infinite Losers. Dragon Ball Z is the tale of a pure-hearted monkey man on a sacred mission to punch everyone in the universe, from alien Hitler to a time-traveling masochist.
You're going to give me some pleasure, right?
To his own kid. Other than punching, Goku's second favorite hobby is, well, dying. Like a whole lot. Which might be related to his tendency to punch every single person he meets, come to think of it. But Goku's not the only one in this show with a frankly ill-advised death addiction.
Krillin!
This presented a problem for dubbing companies when the show first came to America, where death is a no-no in children's entertainment, and cartoon characters are cursed with eternal life.
Kill me, damn it!
The solution? Whenever a character in Dragon Ball Z dies, so like every other episode, the dubbers will simply add a line saying they've been sent into another dimension.
Into another dimension.
Yep, another dimension with fluffy clouds, where everyone has a halo, but it's totally not heaven. One episode subtly hints that Goku might be in hell by having him meet a guy with red skin, big horns, and a shirt that says Hell. It's like the animators threw that character in there for the specific purpose of with censors. But they underestimated the American dubbers, who got around the issue by changing the word hell on the shirt to Hiffle. That's Home for Infinite Losers, which is a fantastic name for an emo album. Wait, is it a home for an infinite number of losers? Or are they calling Goku a loser infinity times? And why does being a loser entitle you to a home? That would be extremely unfair to those of us who are cool winners. Another time, the dubbers tried to remove Goku's halo to avoid reminding kids of their own mortality, but the best they could do was replace it with a glowing orb over his head. So now he's not dead, he's just trapped in some sort of The Sims ripoff bought at the App Store for $2. Such was the dubbers' dedication to protecting children that they even had a rule against showing them in distress. Gohan is being manhandled by a villain? Just erase the fingers. There, doesn't he look more peaceful now? Gohan has a giant bruise on his face? Simply paint an eye over it and no one will ever notice. Man, with all the punching and dying in this show, it's a wonder that Goku is still in one piece, but not literally in one piece, because that's another show that we're now smoothly transitioning to. Number 3, One Piece turned chain smoking into a lollipop addiction. One Piece is a popular pirate-themed anime that's been on the air since actual pirate times, I think. When the show first reached America's shores, the dubbers at 4Kids Entertainment noticed that this high seas fantasy adventure had a troubling lack of rap music. So they went ahead and fixed that.
Here's how the story goes, we find out about a treasure in the Grand Line, there's no doubt.
Nice try, but everyone knows there's only one anime rap song worth a damn.
Charizard, Machamp, Pinsir, Coldplay, Dugtrio, Golbat, Staryu, Magikarp.
But that's not the only thing 4Kids changed. One of the main characters is Vinsmoke Sanji, who's described as a perverted but chivalrous chef by Wikipedia, and his glowing Yelp reviews. Naturally, 4Kids objected to the smoke part. If they deleted every instance of Sanji smoking, the show would be like 5 minutes long. So they went with the most dignified solution for the character, taking every shot of Sanji with a cigarette in his mouth and redrawing it into a shot of Sanji sucking on a never-ending lollipop. Yep, every single gosh darn shot. They even altered the show's dialogue to make other characters reference Sanji's oral fixation.
Just keep sucking your candy!
I want to find out what he's always slurping on.
See? That's more kid-friendly. But Sanji is a chump compared to another character called Smoker, who always has 2 massive cigars in his mouth, because doctors in the 16th century had yet to make some very important associations. In this case, 4 kids just threw their hands in the air and erased the cigars in his mouth and the spare ones he carries in his jacket, but kept the smoke coming out of his mouth with the explanation that it's a side effect from a magic fruit he ate. Remember kids, always check the expiration date on magical food before you eat it, or you could end up with eternal stink mouth. But hey, at least 4 kids didn't just slap a big blotch of black on the character's face to poorly disguise the fact that he's smoking, and yes, that is a JoJo reference. But this one is actually Japan's fault, since there are rules against showing underage people smoking on TV, and this particular JoJo is supposed to be 17 during this particular bizarre adventure. And speaking of teenagers that look old enough to have a mortgage, number 2. Power Rangers was 3 shows cobbled together, minus the perverted parts. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is about 5 high school students with an unhealthy love for single-colored wardrobes who are chosen by a giant head to become a team of superheroes who ride robot dinosaurs.
Make my monster grow!
You'll be shocked to learn that parts of this concept originated in Japan, like this one, or this one, or this. Wait, nope, that one's on us. The first 3 seasons of Power Rangers, so the only ones pop culture in general cares about, are a combination of 3 separate Japanese series of the people in colorful costumes punching monsters genre. New scenes were shot with American actors to add important character development. But all the monster fighting scenes are stitched together from Japanese footage. For example, whenever you see Trini, the Yellow Ranger, fighting in her costume, that's just her voice redubbing the dialogue of some Japanese dude, which in retrospect was kind of obvious. So why did they smash together different shows into a narrative megazord? Because money. The iconic Power Rangers costumes every kid in America was willing to kill for came from one of those shows, and there was only enough footage for 1 season. So, to keep those action figures flying off the shelves, they started using editing tricks to show characters from one series fighting monsters from another, while poorly hiding the fact that they're never together in the same shot. And the kids in the audience didn't notice because, as I continue reminding you, kids are super dumb. On that note, remember the unfortunately named White Power Ranger who shows up in season 2? He too was transplanted from another series, which is why he always ended up fighting alone during fight scenes. Oh, and he was a little kid and a big pervert. Yep, the original middle school-aged White Ranger had a troubling tendency to morph into a miniature Harvey Weinstein when the Pink Ranger was around, a plotline that was thankfully removed from the American version. Or if it did happen off camera, at least it was age appropriate and she consented to it, unlike the real victim, Bulk. So, fine, the American localization team actually did some good things this time, but that was definitely not the case with number 1, Sailor Moon turned a lesbian couple into kissing cousins. Sailor Moon is about a bunch of girls in colorful costumes using magic powers to save the planet, or at least that's what the show was about when it aired in North America. In the original Japanese version, Sailor Moon was about a bunch of girls in colorful costumes using magic powers to save the planet. Oh, and 2 of them happen to be girlfriends. The company dubbing the show into English, scandalized by Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune's perversion, decided to protect the youth of America by changing the characters into cousins.
They're girls and cousins too.
Which they make sure to mention every time they're on screen.
We're cousins.
Yep, just a couple of heterosexual cousins who stand awfully close to each other while delivering trivial dialogue.
Leave it to me, cuz.
And stare intensely into each other's eyes.
The look in my cousin's eyes was so intense.
And lovingly hold hands while one of them is in her underwear.
She's your family. What's the matter with you?
Then there's the time Sailor Neptune reminisces about her first kiss.
It was with Brad, the cutest guy in the school.
But Brad, the cutest guy in school, sure looks an awful lot like her cousin. The censors also pretended a cross-dressing male character was a woman, but kept the scene where he shows everyone his chest, making it look like she, who was actually he, just flashed everyone for no reason. Great job, censors.
My work is done here.
This is kinda like when Modern Family's Iranian remake tried to make the family less modern by removing a gay couple, only to accidentally add another one. You see, besides changing Cam into a woman, the remake also turned Haley into a boy, but they kept the scene where her mom awkwardly walks in on her hanging out with the guy she likes. Wait a minute, could this be the mythical Brad, the cutest guy in school? The Modern Family Sailor Moon crossover we always wanted was right under our noses all along. So what lesson can we learn from all these foolish attempts at censorship? I don't know, you figure it out. My work here is done. Thanks for watching this episode of Cannonball. Hop in the comments and tell us about your favorite oral fixations and pop culture cousin kissers.